Hey everyone, it's Dr. Mona, and in this week's video, I'm going to show you an example of what I have for dinner. Now, dinner is actually a really important, crucial meal. I know sometimes we focus a lot on breakfast, but what you have at night can affect your digestion while you're sleeping. It can affect how long you're staying full, so it can really help curb those late night snacks. And make sure you watch till the end of the video because I'm gonna reveal one snack I like to have every night while I'm making dinner that naturally releases digestive enzymes and helps you break down your food better so you're actually burning more calories and digesting better.
Come on.
All right, so for tonight's dinner, I'm gonna show you a really easy example of something you can make really quick. It's so much better than eating out. If you've watched any of my other little cooking videos, you know that I'm not the most amazing chef. I like to call myself an amateur chef, but I get the job done. It tastes really good and it's really simple. That's key. So I'm gonna show you this pasta that I really like making. This pasta, the brand is called Tolerant, Simply Legumes. So basically it's made out of just lentils. I think pasta obviously has a bad rep because, years ago we discovered that carbs weren't the healthiest thing in the world, but now we have so many cool options. Carbs aren't what they used to be, or I should say, pasta isn't what it used to be. Before it was just made out of white flour, wheat flour. Now we've got so many cool options. We've got black bean pasta, quinoa pasta, lentil pasta. I'm using lentil pasta because we are going to follow food combining principles for all of these, what I eat in a day. And I like to have things like lentils or beans or nuts or seeds, things like that that are a little bit heavier and more dense later in the night. I always start my day with lightest. I've got the green juice in the morning and the green smoothie. And then for lunch, I like to do, some kind of starchy food, whether it's potatoes or quinoa, something like that. You can watch the other videos and check those out. And then for dinner, I like to give myself the protein-filled, heavier meal. So this is my red lentil pasta. I'm gonna actually boil the water while I prep some of these veggies. So when you boil your water, you don't have to measure it. This is not an exact measurement. The whole point is just to boil the pasta. Some people add a little salt to make it boil quicker. I don't, because I don't think it's that necessary. So I'm gonna boil that. One trick with pasta is to add a lot of different veggies, and by doing this, it feels like you're eating a bigger bowl of pasta, but in reality, you're just eating a bigger bowl with veggies and pasta. So it's kind of a way to trick your brain, and that's one of my big things. And when I first started eating healthy, I really taught myself like little tips and tricks to trick myself into thinking I was eating a certain way. And it's a good trick because you're actually doing something better for your body. You're getting your veggies in, but you're not totally breaking the bank. So I love mushrooms. One thing I like to do with mushrooms is to get a wet paper towel and then just wipe them off. My mom's been doing this since I was a kid, and I've read that when you wash mushrooms under the water, sometimes you're losing a lot of their nutrients. So a good way to clean them is to get like a damp paper towel and just get all the dirt off instead of actually running them underwater. So mushrooms are sometimes considered like the immortal food. They're very anti-aging. Mushrooms are being used a lot more in reishi and different tinctures and like protein powders. So mushrooms are making a pretty good comeback. I always thought they were a little underrated personally. I love them. So this pasta I'm gonna make tonight, I'm actually making really simple because I don't have all the ingredients in my house right now to make something more complicated. And I kind of did that on purpose because I wanted to show you when you just have like certain bare essentials, what you can do. A really yummy pasta to make with this lentil pasta is pesto, but you need fresh basil and pine nuts. I don't have fresh basil right now, but things that you can always keep that don't go bad, that are really simple, are nutritional yeast and olive oil. So the whole point of this meal is what can you throw together that you can always have in your cabinet and your fridge that tastes good and is healthy. And remember, this really, really beats ordering out because when you get home and you're starving and you don't want to think and you don't want to have to make some really complicated meal, that's what the point of this meal is. And I wanted to make it just something that's an alternative to eating out so it's not too hard to make. So lentils in general are a food I really try to incorporate into my diet when I can, especially if you're vegan or vegetarian. They're going to be a really good source of iron. They're a great source of protein, great source of fiber. All around, probably one food group that I'd say is my favorite and healthiest that I'd recommend to anyone. You can do a lot of different things with lentils, like lentil loaves, lentil soup. And now they make it really easy for us because there's lentil pasta. And if you have kids, I highly recommend incorporating things like lentil pasta. you know, starting them out with habits young. One thing I think helped me is that I grew up eating so much like fruit and vegetable that as I got older, it just kind of became a part of my taste buds and what I liked. So now it was easy for me to eat them. You know, don't even introduce your kids to regular pasta. Just use quinoa pasta, brown rice pasta, lentil pasta, anything that's gluten-free, then they'll never know the difference. All right, so I just rinsed off this broccoli. When you make this pasta with pesto, which I can do in another video, adding more veggies is easier because it really makes it creamy. I'm not gonna add too many veggies for this one because we don't have like a thick enough sauce to really mask them that much. I like to chop them really small so they're almost just like little bite size. And the spinach, we just add in at the very end because it wilts so quickly. So 3 tips for pasta. Always get gluten-free because there's so many options. You can add a lot of veggies and make it feel like you're eating a bigger meal when in reality you're not. And always add like a spinach or a kale at the end because it wilts in like seconds. It's so easy, just a really easy way to add greens. And like I said, my go-to for pasta would either be some kind of tomato sauce. I'm not the biggest fan of tomato sauce. Sometimes I just depends on my mood. Like right now I'm not really vibing it. So I've really been liking olive oil and nutritional yeast. And for those of you that don't know what nutritional yeast, if you are interested in going vegan or vegetarian, or if you're not, you should definitely look into this. It's an amazing supplement. I love the brand Bragg. So 1 tablespoon gives you 2 grams of protein, 180% of your B1, 40% of your folic acid, 140% of your B6 and B2, and almost half of your B12. That's in 1 tablespoon. So I could use 2 of this and basically get all of my B vitamins that I need. It tastes kind of cheesy, so it's a perfect cheesy like addition if you are vegan and looking for something else, or if you just want to cut dairy, which everyone should probably try to cut a little bit of dairy because it's acidic, it causes inflammation, it's really not good for you, it can lead to acne. Nutritional yeast is also really good sprinkled on popcorn, so even non-vegans like that. Okay, so this is boiling. I'm really not going to measure. Pasta is something you don't have to measure. Like I said, you just boil it until it's really at the consistency you want. I like it a little bit softer, so I let it boil for a little while. One thing I wanted to show you is what I snack on while I cook. So these are cherry tomatoes. Really any vegetable will do. Now this is a really, really good tip and trick that you guys should incorporate. Eating raw vegetables or raw fruit 20 minutes before you eat your actual meal is actually going to prep your body for digestion. So it's going to help you release digestive enzymes that help you break down your food. Huge, almost, I wouldn't say full, but one of the biggest culprits of bloating, of acne, of so many different issues we have. Hold on. Of so many different issues we face is digestion. You know, everything starts in the gut. The gut is just responsible for so much that goes on in the body. So anything we can do to kind of help facilitate it, it's almost like taking a digestive enzyme. I love cherry tomatoes. A lot of times, if I'm like in a rush and don't have a snack, I'll even stop at a grocery store and just buy like a little pack of them, rinse them and eat them. They're like a perfect little snack. Fruit, you could eat 20 minutes before. It does release the same digestive enzymes, but fruit, you really have to eat on its own, meaning you would have, you know, if you had eaten something a few hours before, you want to make sure you're giving yourself the right timing. And I know a lot of you are concerned with sugar. So you can stick with fruit in the morning. For your breakfast, for a smoothie, that's what I do. And for this trick, you can just stick to veggies. You could even do some broccoli, you could do carrots, you could do celery. I just want to quickly go over some facts about lentils and why I think a lot of you should learn more about it, incorporate more into your diet. So 1 serving of this, which you know most of us always end up eating a little more than 1 serving because it's pretty small. 3 ounces of this, which is 1 serving, is 21 grams of protein, 11 grams of fiber, and 1 gram of fat. So for anyone who wonders how vegans get their protein, you know, if it's healthy being vegan, this is a perfect example. The difference, let's say you don't want to be vegan and you just want to eat animal meat, obviously that's your choice, but when you eat animal protein, just by nature, it's inflammatory because it's acidic. Any kind of animal protein is acidic. Acidity causes inflammation, and inflammation is the leading cause of almost every disease state that we get, like almost every. You know, we learned in pharmacy school, I remember learning so much about always like wanting anti-inflammatory foods, anything you can do. So lentils in general are just such a great alternative to eating animal meat. It's a really great source of protein, and it's also giving you your fiber. So it's kind of a win-win here. There's so many different ways to eat them, to incorporate them. So I just want to quickly go over one topic that I think is interesting, which is carbs. I know a lot of you guys are scared of carbs and everyone wants to do high protein, low carb, but I really don't believe in this, and there's so many healthy carbs, and I feel that a lot of people are neglecting really healthy, amazing foods. A high protein diet isn't always the healthiest. It's not healthy on our kidneys. It's not healthy for longevity. Now, I want you to look at health and diet and wellness for long term. Like, we're not thinking about, a fitness competition in a week. Maybe a high protein diet will give you that quick fix right away, but I think the point of health and all of this, in my opinion, is to live longer, healthier, happier, and have results that last forever. So obviously there are certain carbs that are unhealthy, which I agree with, like the white starchy carbs, like white bread, white rice, white flour, white pasta. But when we're talking about healthy, nutritious, like fiber-filled, nutrient-dense carbs like red potatoes, sweet potatoes, lentils, beans, broccoli, mushrooms, all of these have carbs. These are things we need. Like, they're so amazing for you. We're gonna really be nutrient depleted if we miss out on these foods, especially because the high protein tends to associate with meat because it's such an easy way to get protein. So I just think it's a little bit silly for someone to recommend bacon and cheese over organic sprouted garbanzo beans or lentils or vegetables. Just think about it. Really try to think logically of what is going to be the best for my body? What is going to make me feel the most energized? What's going to make me live the longest? Think about your skin, your hair, all of it, heart healthy. So not all carbs are bad. I'm not afraid of carbs. And when you kind of let go of that thought and think about it the right way, you're going to end up getting better results. I'm going to check on this pasta because I think it's almost done. Yep. Okay. So the pasta's boiled. Okay. So I just took the pasta off the stove. I strained it. I always rinse it a little bit. And now I'm just gonna cook these vegetables for maybe 5 to 8 minutes, just until they're soft. I'm gonna use a dash of coconut oil just so that they don't burn. So the reason I like cooking with coconut oil is because it's safer to cook at high heat. So a lot of people will cook with olive oil. And while olive oil has its benefits, I'm actually just gonna use this on the top, and I'm gonna have it cold. It's healthiest when it's cold. Coconut oil is safer to cook at high heat. It's got a lot of health benefits. Olive oil actually turns into a trans fat when you cook it at high temperatures, and it can actually be toxic. So I highly recommend using coconut oil if you want to use a certain heat. And another thing to note, obviously there's certain temperatures where you can cook olive oil at, but I don't know anyone who's really measuring the temperature of their oil. I'm personally not doing that. So if you just want to be on the safe side, get used to cooking with coconut oil. Why am I being so messy? So I actually added just a dash of water. I think sometimes people also forget you can actually do a water saute. So you don't have to use oil to saute. Water can do the same thing. It's obviously not as flavorful, but I like to do a little combination of a little coconut oil and a little water, and that combo together works really well.
A few moments later.
All right, so the veggies are done. Now I'm just gonna add the pasta into this pot, mix it all together. I'm still keeping it on low heat so that I kind of rewarm the pasta because sometimes it gets a little clumpy. And now to make it taste yummy, this is where I'm gonna add the nutritional yeast and the olive oil. So, if you want to watch the amount of oil you're consuming, I would measure the oil, but it all depends on how many servings this is. If you're going to have this in 2 or 3, then you could add 2 or 3 tablespoons because 1 is completely fine. So let's do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And in reality, if you were going to order out and get any kind of stir fry, even the quality of oil, the amount of oil is so much worse. That's why 90% of the time, just making it at home is gonna be the better choice. Then I'm gonna do the nutritional yeast. I'm actually gonna use the big spout because I love a good amount of nutritional yeast. And then I also like to add some black pepper. I really avoid salt as much as I can, so pepper actually gives it a little kick and some good flavor. So I kind of substitute pepper where salt should be. And then lastly, we're gonna add the spinach. And this you can really do as much as you want. Just take like a little handful. You don't even have to chop it up. So with the spinach, you can just close the pot, let it sit there for maybe 5 minutes. It'll wilt on its own, and that's it. You can add, seasonings that you like parsley, basil, more black pepper, anything you feel. You can make it spicy, but this is the base of dinner, and really all you're eating in this bowl is lentils, veggies, and a little olive oil. So super healthy dinner, protein filled. So this is the final product. The spinach took maybe 4 minutes to wilt. All I did was add it to the bowl, put the top on, it just kind of cooked on its own. You also don't have to fully cook the spinach. Sometimes it's nice to have like fresh garnish on there. So really make it your own. I just kind of wanted to show you the base of, an example of dinner I eat. It's protein filled, it's nutritious, it will keep you full throughout the night, and it's something you can just try at home. If you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what else you guys want me to film content on. You can always follow me on Instagram. It's the same handle, at Dr. Mona Vand. I do a what I eat in the day every single week there on Wednesdays. So I will see you guys next week. If you guys want my list of foods that I eat to help satisfy cravings, so these are little tips and tricks I do when I'm having like a dessert craving, a late night craving. I have really cool little unique tricks. Go to the link in this video, or you can just go to gethotandhealthy.com, and I have a free video there where I'll share with you some of my favorite little tips and tricks to fight cravings. You also don't have to fully cook the spinach. Sometimes it's nice to have like a fresh garnish.